Out of 1,000 people who start writing a book, only 30 will finish it. There are a lot of things I can contribute to what's made me successful as a writer and an author today, but this is the one thing that I think made a huge difference overall in my journey. Hi, if you're new to my channel, I'm Karina. I'm a writer and a self-published author of 2 books currently. I have a 3rd in the works that's hoping to come out early next year. On my channel, I like to talk about writing in general, especially for us chaotic creative types who might struggle with routines, and the more aesthetic side of writing and just creative endeavors in general. And a lot of times when newer writers are coming into the scenes and asking questions, they want to ask seasoned writers what's, the tips they have, what's the one thing that made them successful. I know that's a question I'm always asking other writers as well. I do want to give a disclaimer that by some people's standards, I'm definitely not successful in all ways with my writing. I am not making a living off of it at this point in time, but I did finish 2 books and self-publish them myself, which was a huge goal for me that I accomplished, that I wanted to do for years. It was something I dreamed about doing, and something I'm trying to do this year is celebrate the wins and the successes that I do have, instead of comparing myself to, where I could be and where others are currently, to just really embrace and be happy about the successes that I do have. While I was doing a little bit of research for this video, I was looking up and thinking about how many people want to write a book and how many actually start writing a book. And online, I found a number. I don't know how well it's verified, but I found this number that out of 1,000 people who start writing a book, only 30 will finish it, which to me, that sounded like a decent sized number. But then I started thinking of percentages and I was like, oh my gosh, that's only 3% that actually finish writing a book. And then there was some additional information that said about 6 of those will actually go on to publish it. They didn't clarify if that was traditional or self-publishing, but either way, so such a small number of people able to actually complete a book and then go and put that book out into the world for everyone to have access to. I think I have a lot of people's dreams where I'd love to make money off of this actually, right? But I'm not there yet. And it'd be really easy to get discouraged and look down on that, but that's not how you stick in this game long term. If you want to be a writer who completes projects, and if you want to go a step further and be somebody who publishes it and potentially turns it into a business, you have to be in it for the long haul and for the discouraging times. As 2025 approaches, I was thinking about, what goals I want to have this next year, especially for my writing and my book business side of things. And that made me think about kind of my origins and what made me start writing. And as I started thinking about that, there was kind of one turning point for me that I can see changed the shape of where I'm at and what made me actually push to finish and publish a book. I think like quite a few people, I was very much a reader and writer as a child. I have these little notebooks that my mom kept that I have in a box somewhere where I literally would start writing stories, and I would just write them by hand. And so I've always been drawn to writing. It was not something that I considered for a job or a future for me, really, not seriously until my late teens. I'd already started writing a book in my early teens, and what changed for me going from, oh, this could be kind of fun, to, oh my goodness, I think I could actually do this and maybe share it with other people, was Wattpad. And I can't even say it with a straight face because I know what it is. And if any of you guys know, if any of you were Wattpad teens, you know the level of writing that's on there often. Not all of it. There's a few gems, but Wattpad is a site where amateur writers can go and publish their work, and many people can read it for free. There are some paid stories now. When I was originally on Wattpad, I don't remember that being a thing. Just all the stories were free. And so because it is an amateur writer's site, obviously there is a large variety in the writing quality and experience with writers. There were many who, like me, were teenagers, very young teenagers, who had never received any formal training of any kind, just trying our hands at it. There's lots of fan fiction. There's really every genre, honestly. There are clean ones, there's spicy ones. Like, there's so much variety on Wattpad. And as a teenager, I loved it. That was my safe space. I think I fell into a potentially dangerous trap where when I was reading books, I was thinking, I could write, I think, just as well as some of these people can, which I don't ever recommend comparing yourself to other writers in a negative way like that, but that was what inspired me. Is I was like, I think I could do this. I'm reading some of these, I'm enjoying them, but they're not master craftsmanship. I think this is something I could do as well. And so I started trying my hand at it, not even expecting anybody else to read it, but just kind of experimenting with storytelling and writing and having a place where I could put it out into the world and not just have it in a little notebook or a document on my computer. And that felt really, really amazing to me. And I think that actually helped my productivity with it, because I get little dopamine hits whenever I'm able to like hit publish or hit upload on something, where I don't always get that when I'm actually writing just in a document now. And so because of that, I actually wrote in a decent amount of time. And like I said, it was just all fun and games, really. Like, I wasn't expecting much out of it. I was just writing this fun little teenage werewolf story and just seeing what really I could do with it. And then people started reading it. And that was shocking to me when I started to see my stats go up and people started commenting on it and saying how much they loved it. And really, I got amazing feedback from Wattpad readers, and that just kept spurring me on to keep getting chapters out then, because, okay, people were really enjoying this. So I guess if they're enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. And I was able to finish a whole book. Now, at that point, I think I was getting close to graduating high school by the time I finished it and published it there. And so because of that, then I kind of stepped away. I was going to college. Before I was going to college, I was working a full-time job. And then I moved off and went to school. And so I kind of stepped back from it. But as I was going to school and being really unhappy with school, I struggled, not academically, but I struggled mentally with the load. Completing schoolwork didn't give me any dopamine hits, which I know sounds terrible, but that's how I am able to look at it now, looking back on it and realizing why I felt so unfulfilled. It's because I feel no achievement when I do good at school, good in grades. When I make assignments and turn them in on time, I feel no sense of accomplishment or pride with it. And so it was really hard to enjoy school and to, like I said, just be happy with life when I felt so unfulfilled with what I was doing. And so I kind of turned back to reading and writing during that time. And even though I didn't put anything else out on Wattpad, I went back to the book that was on Wattpad, and I again was seeing people's response to it, going through and reading it again myself and kind of rewriting it. And I was like, I think I could put this out like into the world even more, and maybe people would pay for it. Like right now people are getting it for free and they love it, and maybe people would pay for it. And I did. And that was exactly what I did. I researched publishing. I did so many hours of research on the publishing process, and I came to realize I didn't want to go the traditional route, at least not with that book. It would not have been possible with that book, just marketability wise, and the reader base for it is not large enough to where a traditional publisher would want it. And even if it was one that I thought could be traditionally published, self-publishing really drew me in the more I researched it, simply because of me having all the choices and all the hands-on ability with it, and all of that is what really drew me into self-publishing. And so I did move forward with that. It took a few more years before I was able to work on the book enough, because by that point I did drop out of school, and then I was working full-time, and then I tried to go back to school, and so I was going to school part-time and working full-time, and so it did take me a while before I revised the book enough to where I was comfortable publishing it. And even looking back at it now to where my writing is now, I think it's a little insane that I published it at that point, because my writing is just so much better years now. It's received very good feedback as well. I've been very happy with the response that I've gotten from it, although it's not a ton. And it's crazy looking back now at the whole journey that I took with my writing to where I am now is seeing that the thing that made me that gave me that final push was the writing community. Really is what it was. There's different communities all over the place for writing, whether that's your local one, whether that is online, Facebook, wherever. But for me, I found my community on Wattpad initially, and that was my community made it so that I could finish a book. And so I think that would be my biggest advice to new writers or writers who are struggling to finish a project is find your community. And that can be one of the hardest things. I think, now struggle with it. I'm not on Wattpad currently. I took the book off of Wattpad when I went to publish it, and I haven't been on there in a while, but I almost think it might be fun to, if not Wattpad, find something else like it, because I think that's something that I'm missing currently in my writing world is a writing community. I have, I think, one writer friend, if I can think off the top of my head, and her and I do talk about books and writing a bunch, but we both have jobs and other things in our lives, and so I think having more people in your circle and in your community makes a big difference. So I think finding your community is the biggest thing, whether that is somebody you have in person that can cheer you on, whether that is a Facebook group that you're interactive with, that they cheer you on, whoever it is, I think that it's essential to have people in your corner who are ecstatic about your writing. For me, like I said, it was Wattpad, but I also had people in real life who were cheering me on. My parents were immensely supportive of it. My siblings would read chapters for me and give me feedback on them. My husband, when I met him, he has read and reread every single one of my chapters so many times to give me feedback on them and to just cheer me on and help me out. And while there are people that I think have done it alone and can do it alone, I don't think most of us can. And I think that's where we, as creative people, end up falling off of our creative bandwagon. Find somebody to celebrate the art with, and I can almost guarantee that you're going to finish that project because now you know that it's not just you who is anticipating and anxiously waiting for this book, this story to be out in the world. I'm still fairly new to the AuthorTube community, but I would love to interact with you guys if you have any other writing tips, and you can share them below so that way everyone, all of us writers, can enjoy the wisdom from each other. Have a great day and a happy new year. See you guys all in 2025. Bye.